red lentil daal with poached chili carrots, curry leaf paprika. This is 1.5 cups of red lentil that I've soaked for an hour. You can see, and I'm going to strain it off. And when you strain the lentils from the water that you soaked them in, you need to give it a little rinse because there's a lot of starch in that and I don't want to carry that into the end product. So routinely when I make dals, I use a chana dal, which is a split chickpea, or a yellow split pea, something with a lot more integrity. And so when I'm cooking red lentils, I take a different approach. So 1, I soak it for less time, but 2, I use more water. And I use more water because when a dal is softer, it's going to break down further, and when it breaks down further, it thickens out. And if there's not enough water in there for the cooking process, that thickness turns in on itself and it becomes gluey and claggy. And gluey and claggy aren't 2 words that I normally associate with any food that I want to eat. So if I've just a little bit more water in there is going to still give it movement in the pan, and with that movement, the spice has space to breathe, and then spice that's breathing is going to express itself with more clarity through the end product of the dal. So for 1.5 cups of dried lentils, I'm going to put in 3 cups of water. Salt and turmeric goes in at this point, and a little bit of jaggery, which is just a bit of a sweetener. So I'm going to use a mix of salts. I'm going to use a teaspoon of a fine white sea salt and a teaspoon and a third of a fine pink salt, and then 2/3 of a teaspoon of a turmeric powder. And then a little bit of jaggery. It's a few shavings, so it's probably a 1 centimetre by 1 centimetre piece. If you're not sure what jaggery is, I do have a separate video on jaggery and also separate videos on salts and why and how to use them and how to combine them as well. So this is going to go on to 15, which is my top. And while I'm waiting for it to come to steam, I'm actually going to prepare the next part of the dish, so the carrots, for the poached carrots. So what I'm going to do is poach these carrots in a little bit of chilli and fenugreek. And because I made paneer today and I've reserved the whey, I'm actually going to poach them in a little bit of the whey, which will add some acidity and texture to the end result of the carrot itself once it's poached. Get my pot. Now into this I'm going to put a little bit of salt, so a teaspoon of a fine pink salt. A hot ground red chilli, so 1/2 teaspoon, 1/3 of a teaspoon of ground fenugreek. Fenugreek opens things up, and so this dal is really all about opening up space with the carrot, opening up space with the water in the cooking process, opening up space with the fenugreek in the spicing. So we're repeating that same step, and the end result is going to be that a dal that otherwise lacks structure is given the appearance of structure by all this use of opening up space within the dish. The knife goes in, and that's kind of perfect. It's not broken down and soft, but there's no resistance because I'm not really going to cook it through the dal, so it needs to be palatable as it is. So these two are going to come off. This is a strong arm. Ooh. That looks good. Okay, yeah, so come in close. You can see what I mean by how it's lost its texture, see that? Now, if you don't handle this well, it becomes very gluggy. So the funny thing is, the less structural the lentil, the more spice it actually has to go in there in order to find space to breathe through all of this density. That was a lot of salt that I put in, but in the expression of the end dahl, it's just perfect. If it was any less, it wouldn't be enough. So I wouldn't put that much in with a more structural, firmer lentil. The carrots are gonna go in, and I should try this as well, because you always gotta try everything. It'll be spicy. It is. Spicy, salty, sweet, yum. All the good things. Making my nose run. So it's gonna go in there. And the last thing I'm gonna do, it's already very tasty, but I am gonna do a tadka, so a tempered spice into here. And the spicing that I'm going to favour is a stringent, pungent spice, because that will further push through the density in this very soft lentil and allow me a result that is just supremely delicious and not at all claggy or gluggy. Okay, so I'm going to use mustard oil. So a couple of tablespoons of mustard oil. And astringent spicing is things like mustard seed, garlic, curry leaf. So I'm actually going to use all of those. So I'm going to do a teaspoon of black mustard seed, a teaspoon and a half of yellow mustard seed. The differing quantities, because when you're dealing with spice that belong to the same family, it's nice to not exactly align the ratios, because what happens is you get this lovely little strata effect, a scaffolding effect, when you use multiple spice from the same grouping and alter its ratio a little bit, alter its impact on the dish. So it's like a little mustard seed step up in the dahl. A bit of garlic. I'm gonna use 2 cloves. And then the curry leaf, I'm just going to de-skirt her. I love curry leaf. Who doesn't love curry leaf, really? Okay, so I'm gonna pop this on the stove. So tempered spice is medium heat. You don't want it to be too hot. A little glossy. The aroma is something else. It's really fragrant, and it's starting to pop. The curry leaf will pop and the mustard seeds will pop. 15 seconds more. I don't want the garlic to brown. It's nutty and a little bit sweet, and it's quite complex flavour. The heat's reduced a little bit because the dahl has subsumed a lot of the chilli from that poached carrot, but then the garlic goes in there and sweetens. The curry leaf contributes that sort of almondy, sesame seed quality, and the mustard seed itself provides this just lovely textural character. For one, the little pop of the seeds in the mouth, which is nice because it breaks up the smooth consistency in the dahl. Oh my gosh, that smells like my high school in Bangalore. It smells like lunchtime. Red lentil dahl with poached chili carrots, curry leaf tadka.